My beloved child, listen to me carefully, because what you're about to hear is not just a story, it's a turning point, a moment that feels ordinary at first but slowly tightens around your heart. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. There was a time when your life was calm, predictable, almost too quiet to notice the storm forming behind your back. You trusted easily, you believed intentions matched words, and you never imagined that someone smiling in front of you was secretly writing a different ending for your story. Every day looked normal, every conversation felt harmless, yet somewhere in the background, a plan was being stitched together with patience and silence. And the scariest part? You had no idea you were the center of it. Not because you were weak, but because you were kind. That kindness became the trigger. The more genuine you stayed, the more confident the plan became. And right when everything felt settled, fate leaned in and whispered, "Watch closely now. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you." Now listen, this is where things start to shift. The woman you never doubted, the one who spoke softly and acted concerned, had already made up her mind. Every move she made had a reason. Every word carried a second meaning. And while you were busy building your future, she was busy arranging obstacles. Not loud ones. Silent ones. The kind that slowly corner a person without them realizing it. But here's the twist, life has a strange sense of balance. Plans made with the wrong intent don't stay hidden forever. Somewhere between her confidence and her overconfidence, she made one small mistake. Just one. And that mistake became the crack through which everything started to fall apart. Don't skip this part. Stay till the end. Because what happened next wasn't luck, it was a reversal no one saw coming. If you're feeling this story already, pause for a second, take a breath, and remember to stay connected, because stories like this are meant to be shared, discussed, and remembered. Here's where the air changes. The same energy that was meant to trap you began circling back. Conversations you never heard about came to light. Actions meant to stay hidden started revealing their shadows. And slowly, very slowly, the narrative flipped. The confidence she carried turned into restlessness. The control she thought she had began slipping through her fingers. You didn't do anything dramatic. You didn't fight back. You didn't expose anyone. You simply stayed grounded. And that calm? That was the loudest response. Life began doing what it always does when truth waits long enough, it corrected itself. People noticed patterns. Questions arose. And the plan that was supposed to corner you started cornering its creator instead. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and it's closer than you think. Now pause here for a moment, because this is the part people talk about in whispers. The same woman who once felt untouchable found herself surrounded by consequences she never planned for. Stress turned into fear. Fear turned into panic. And panic, into a situation she never imagined she'd face. While you stood still, she spiraled. While you stayed silent, her own actions grew louder. And then, one day, The news arrived like a shockwave. She was in critical care, not because of anyone else, but because the weight of her own choices became too heavy to carry. This is the moment where destiny shows its hand. Don't skip. Stay till the end. And if you're still with me, this is the time to stay connected, because stories like this unfold deeper when shared, when discussed, when followed till the very last word. But here's the part no one expects. Even in that state, even when everything had fallen apart, her thoughts weren't about anger anymore. They weren't about revenge. They were about regret. About misjudging someone who never wished her harm. About underestimating the power of truth and patience. And in that quiet hospital room, surrounded by machines and silence, she finally understood something most people realize too late, that you cannot destroy someone who walks with a clean heart. The irony? The person she tried to break was the one standing emotionally strong, while she was the one asking for peace. Life has a way of teaching lessons without saying a word. And this is where the story turns from shocking to unforgettable. Because what followed wasn't celebration, or revenge, or satisfaction. It was realization. You realize that sometimes winning doesn't look loud. Sometimes it looks like survival. Like growth. Like walking away without bitterness. The universe had handled what you never had to. And that's the moment you understood the real power you hold, staying true when others choose deception. Don't skip now. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and it's not what you think. Let me tell you something important here. Stories like these aren't about downfall, they're about direction. About how every dark intention eventually reveals its own weakness. You didn't have to expose her. You didn't have to prove anything. Time did that for you. And as the truth surfaced, so did clarity. The kind that frees you from doubt. The kind that reminds you that no plan built on negativity ever truly succeeds. If this story is hitting close to home, hold on to it. Let it remind you that silence, patience, and integrity are louder than any scheme. And now, as this story comes to a close, remember this one thing: what was meant to break you ended up building you. What was meant to trap you became the reason you rose. And what was meant to end you, ended itself. Don't skip this final thought. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, because your journey doesn't end here. This was just the chapter where the truth finally stepped into the light. Listen closely now, because what you're about to hear changes the entire meaning of what you thought you understood. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. After everything that happened, after the silence, after the shock, there was a phase no one talks about, the phase where reality slowly settles in. This is where most people lose focus, but this is also where the truth becomes impossible to ignore. The world didn't stop. Time didn't pause. Yet something invisible had shifted forever. You could feel it in the air, in the way conversations felt heavier, in the way eyes avoided certain topics. And deep inside, you sensed it too: this story wasn't over. Not even close. Now here's where things start to feel unreal. Because while everyone assumed the chapter had closed, new details quietly began surfacing. Not through noise. Not through drama. Through patterns. Through small moments that didn't add up. You started noticing how people spoke differently around you now. How certain names were avoided. How truths that were once buried started floating up without effort. It felt like the universe was pulling back a curtain, inch by inch, letting you see how deep the plan had actually gone. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Because this part reveals why everything happened exactly the way it did. And then came the realization that hit harder than any confrontation ever could. You were never the target the way you thought. You were the test. The situation was designed to see how far someone could go, how much they could manipulate, how long they could pretend. But the moment things turned serious, the mask cracked. The pressure revealed what confidence had hidden. And suddenly, the narrative flipped completely. People began asking questions. Quietly at first. Then openly. And once that door opened, there was no closing it again. If you're still here, don't move. Something huge is waiting for you. This is the point where you need to hear this clearly. What saved you wasn't action, it was restraint. While others expected a reaction, you gave silence. While chaos tried to pull you in, you chose distance. And that distance became your protection. That calm became your strength. This is where most people fail, but you didn't. And that's why the outcome changed. If this story is hitting deep, don't just watch it, be part of it. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. Stay connected. And yes, this is the moment to subscribe, because stories like this don't come often, and what's coming next goes even deeper. Now let me tell you what no one saw coming. The same people who once doubted you began noticing something strange. Every step you took forward, something else collapsed behind you. Not because you pushed it, but because it was already unstable. Truth has weight. And when it finally drops, it shakes everything built on pretense. The energy shifted. Conversations changed. And slowly, silently, the narrative rewrote itself without you having to say a word. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and it's closer than you think. At this stage, the story stopped being about conflict and started becoming about consequence. The realization was heavy. The atmosphere was different. And the silence? It was louder than any argument. That's when it became clear, this was never about winning. It was about clarity. About seeing who stands when the illusion fades. And in that clarity, one truth stood tall: you walked away clean. No guilt. No regret. No need to explain yourself. That alone changed everything. Now pause for a second and feel this part. Because this is where people usually underestimate the power of patience. You didn't chase closure. You didn't demand answers. You allowed time to do its work. And time never misses. Slowly, the story corrected itself. The truth aligned. The noise faded. And the weight shifted to where it always belonged. If you're still watching, this is your sign. Don't scroll away now. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. And here's the final thought that stays with you long after this story ends. Sometimes, the greatest protection is not strength, not anger, not even justice, but timing. You were protected because you waited. You were elevated because you didn't interfere. And what was meant to harm you became the very reason your path cleared. Remember this moment. Hold on to it. Because what comes next in this story changes everything. My beloved child, listen carefully now, because this part carries a weight that most people never notice until it's too late. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. By now, you might think the story has already reached its peak. But what's coming next is the moment where everything quietly locks into place. This is the phase where silence becomes louder than noise, where stillness carries more power than movement. You started noticing how life around you felt lighter. Not perfect. Not easy. But lighter. As if a pressure you didn't even realize you were carrying had finally been lifted. And that's when you understood something strange. Sometimes peace arrives not with celebration, but with absence. The absence of chaos. The absence of manipulation. The absence of people who never belonged in your future. Now here's where the story deepens. Because while you were finding balance, the ripple effect of past actions was still unfolding elsewhere. The energy someone once used to control situations had nowhere left to go. And when energy has no direction, it collapses inward. That's when reality began knocking harder. The silence turned uncomfortable. The consequences became unavoidable. And suddenly, the same person who once stood confident was now surrounded by questions they couldn't answer. Not from others, but from themselves. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. This is the part people rarely talk about, the emotional aftermath. The part where truth doesn't scream, it settles. You started noticing clarity in your thoughts. Decisions became easier. Doubt faded. And without even trying, you began stepping into a version of yourself that felt stronger, calmer, and more aware. You didn't win anything externally. But internally, everything changed. And that's the kind of transformation that lasts. If you're feeling this story, if something inside you is nodding quietly, stay right here. This moment matters. And then came the realization that shook everything you once believed. The situation was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal you. To show you how much you could endure without losing yourself. To show you that patience is not weakness, it's precision. That silence is not surrender, it's strategy. And that walking away with dignity is the loudest statement of all. Don't skip now. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. At this point, the roles had fully reversed. Not in a dramatic way. Not in a visible way. But in a way that only life can orchestrate. You were no longer reacting. You were choosing. You were no longer defending. You were progressing. And that shift? That's when everything else started aligning. Opportunities appeared. Peace settled in. And the noise that once followed you faded into nothing. This is the moment people rarely see, because it happens quietly. But it's the moment that defines the future. Let this part sink in deeply. The power you gained wasn't from revenge. It wasn't from proving anyone wrong. It came from understanding that not every battle needs your presence. Some battles end the moment you stop participating. And when you do, the universe steps in to handle the rest. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and it's closer than you think. Now, as this chapter nears its close, there's one truth you must carry forward. Not everyone who smiles with you wants you to win. Not everyone who speaks softly has good intentions. But the moment you stop reacting and start observing, everything becomes clear. You didn't lose anything in this story. You gained awareness. You gained strength. You gained freedom. And that is priceless. Stay with me, because the next part is where the final realization hits. And when it does, you'll understand why everything happened exactly the way it did. Listen to this carefully, because this is the moment everything finally makes sense. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. After everything you've witnessed, after all the silence, the confusion, the slow unfolding of truth, this is where clarity arrives without warning. It doesn't come loud. It doesn't announce itself. It simply settles into your chest and suddenly, you understand. You realize why things had to fall apart the way they did. Why certain doors closed without explanation. Why some people walked away without a goodbye. It wasn't loss. It was alignment. Now here's the part that changes everything. You begin to notice that life feels different, not heavier, not chaotic, but balanced. The kind of balance that only comes when the wrong energies exit quietly. You don't feel the need to prove anything anymore. You don't feel the urge to explain your side. Because deep down, you know the truth has already done its work. And when truth finishes its job, it leaves behind something powerful: peace. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. This is where your growth becomes visible, even if no one says it out loud. Your reactions are calmer. Your decisions are sharper. Your intuition feels stronger than ever before. The same situations that once drained you now barely touch you. That's how you know you've leveled up. Not because others changed, but because you did. And that shift? That's irreversible. If this moment resonates with you, take a second right now, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and stay connected, because what comes next completes the entire story. Here's the truth most people never realize. When someone tries to harm you with intention, they unknowingly activate a chain of events they can't control. And when you choose not to react, not to retaliate, not to sink to their level, you rise automatically. That's not weakness. That's mastery. The universe doesn't reward noise. It rewards alignment. And you, without even trying, aligned yourself with something far greater. Now let this sink in. Everything that once felt unfair was actually protection in disguise. Every delay, every confusion, every unanswered question, it was all redirecting you away from something that would have cost you more than you knew. And when you look back now, you realize how close you were to a different outcome. One that didn't serve you. One that wasn't meant for your future. Don't skip now. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. This is the moment where strength becomes quiet confidence. Where you no longer need validation. Where your peace speaks louder than explanations ever could. And the most powerful part? You didn't force this ending. You allowed it. You trusted the process. And because of that, you walked out stronger while everything else collapsed under its own weight. If you've stayed with me till here, this is your sign. You're not behind. You're not unlucky. You're not misunderstood by accident. You are being shaped for something better. Something cleaner. Something real. Stay connected, subscribe if you haven't, and share this with someone who's silently going through the same thing, because stories like this aren't meant to be kept alone. And now, the final truth. What was meant to break you became your turning point. What was meant to confuse you gave you clarity. What was meant to end you, ended itself. This was never about revenge. It was about evolution. And now that you've reached this moment, remember one thing, your story didn't end here. It finally began. Listen to me now, this is the part where everything quietly settles into place. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. By now, you've felt it, that deep sense of calm that doesn't come from answers, but from acceptance. The kind of calm that tells you you're no longer chasing closure, because closure has already found you. You're standing at a point where the past no longer pulls you backward, and the future no longer feels uncertain. This is the moment most people never reach, because they give up too early. But you stayed. And because you stayed, you're about to understand something powerful. There's a strange peace that arrives when you finally realize you don't need justice to move forward. You don't need apologies. You don't need explanations. You just need clarity, and you have it now. The weight you carried wasn't yours to hold in the first place. And the moment you released it, life began responding differently. Opportunities feel lighter. Decisions feel clearer. Even silence feels comforting instead of heavy. That's how you know you've crossed a line most people never do. Don't skip this part. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because now comes the truth that changes how you see everything. The struggle wasn't meant to break you, it was meant to teach you restraint, awareness, and self-respect. You weren't delayed. You were being refined. Every moment of confusion sharpened your instincts. Every setback strengthened your boundaries. And now, you walk forward with a clarity that can't be shaken. This is where your power truly begins to show. Not in loud victories. Not in dramatic endings. But in quiet confidence. in knowing when to speak and when to stay silent, in choosing peace over proving a point, in walking away without resentment. That's not weakness. That's control. And control is something no one can take from you once you own it. Take a moment here. Feel the shift. Because this is the part where the story stops being about what happened to you, and starts being about who you've become. You're no longer reacting to life. You're directing it. And that change? It's permanent. Don't skip now. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. What's beautiful about this ending is that it doesn't need validation. You don't need anyone to admit their mistakes. You don't need closure from the past. You've outgrown the need for both. And that's when true freedom arrives, not when others change, but when you do. When you stop carrying what was never yours to begin with. Now listen carefully, because this is the final truth. Everything you went through was shaping you for a higher level of awareness. A stronger version of yourself. A calmer, wiser, unshakable version. The kind of person who doesn't fear betrayal anymore because they trust their ability to rise above it. And that's the kind of strength that lasts. So as this chapter ends, remember this: you were never losing. You were becoming. You were never behind. You were being prepared. And what once felt like the hardest phase of your life was actually the beginning of your strongest one. Don't forget this moment. Because from here on, your story only moves forward. Listen closely now. This is the chapter where silence turns into certainty. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. By this point, you've felt the shift inside you, the kind that doesn't need words to explain it. You're no longer searching for answers because you've become comfortable with knowing that some answers arrive only after you've outgrown the question. The noise that once surrounded your thoughts has faded, and in its place is a steady calm. Not emptiness. Not confusion. Clarity. There's a moment that comes after every storm when you realize you're still standing. Not shaken. Not broken. Just stronger. That's where you are now. You've crossed the phase where emotions controlled you. You've entered the phase where understanding guides you. And the most powerful part? You didn't have to force it. It happened naturally, the way growth always does when you stop resisting it. Don't skip this. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. This is where you begin to notice something unusual. Your reactions have changed. Things that once triggered you now barely register. Situations that once drained you now pass quietly. That's not because you stopped caring. It's because you started choosing where your energy goes. And that choice? That's maturity. That's wisdom. That's the sign of someone who has learned the lesson without needing the pain to repeat itself. You see, not every victory looks like celebration. Some victories look like peace of mind. Some look like emotional distance from chaos. Some look like waking up one day and realizing you no longer feel heavy. That's when you know you've healed. Not because everything is perfect, but because nothing controls you anymore. Don't skip now. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Here's the truth most people never realize: growth doesn't announce itself. It shows up quietly in the way you think, the way you respond, the way you protect your peace. You don't need to prove how far you've come. Your calm does that for you. Your choices do that for you. And the life you're slowly building speaks louder than any explanation ever could. At this point, the past no longer feels like a burden. It feels like a lesson completed. You can look back without anger. You can remember without pain. And that's when you know you've truly moved forward. Not because the memory disappeared, but because its power over you did. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Now understand this deeply: the version of you that survived that chapter is not the same version walking forward now. You're wiser. More aware. More grounded. You don't rush. You don't react. You observe. And that calm presence? That strength refined by experience. That's resilience shaped by reality. And here's the final realization of this part. Nothing was wasted. Not the pain. Not the confusion. Not the waiting. Every moment served a purpose, even when you couldn't see it. And now, as you stand here, stronger and clearer than before, one truth becomes undeniable: you didn't just survive the storm, you learned how to walk through rain without getting lost. Listen carefully, because this part carries a quiet power most people never recognize. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. By now, you've reached a place where silence doesn't scare you anymore. It comforts you. You're no longer rushing to fill empty spaces with noise, people, or distractions. You've learned that peace doesn't come from adding more, it comes from letting go. And in that letting go, something inside you finally settled. There's a moment in every journey when you realize you're no longer reacting to life, you're responding to it. That moment has found you. The urgency is gone. The anxiety has softened. You're not trying to prove your worth anymore because you've already understood it. And that understanding? It changes the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you choose your battles. Don't skip this. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You begin to notice how different your energy feels now. Not loud. Not defensive. Just steady. Grounded. People sense it when they're around you. They may not say it out loud, but they feel it. The calm confidence of someone who has faced chaos and didn't let it harden them. That's rare. And it's powerful. Because strength without bitterness is one of the hardest things to achieve. This is the phase where you stop needing explanations. You don't need closure. You don't need validation. You don't need anyone to admit they were wrong. You've moved beyond that level. Your growth doesn't depend on someone else's realization anymore. And that freedom? That's when life truly opens up. Don't skip now. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. There's also something else that changes here, your patience. It's no longer forced. It's natural. You trust timing now. You understand that what's meant for you won't miss you, and what misses you was never meant to stay. That belief becomes your anchor. You stop chasing outcomes and start aligning with purpose. And here's the part that matters most: you no longer fear loss. Because you've already survived it. You know now that even when things fall apart, you remain stronger, clearer, wiser. That knowledge gives you a quiet confidence no one can take away. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. As this chapter unfolds, you realize something beautiful: you're no longer defined by what happened to you. You're defined by how you grew from it. And that growth isn't loud. It doesn't demand attention. It simply exists, steady and unshaken. That's the kind of power that lasts. And now, as this part comes to a close, remember this: you didn't change to survive the world. You changed so the world could no longer disturb your peace. And that, more than anything else, means you've already won.